I'll never forget the day that was supposed to be the happiest of our lives, turned into a spectacle none of us could have predicted. My fiancée, Lily, and I had poured our hearts into planning our backyard wedding at our new home in Sunnyvale Estates, Arizona. For months, we obsessed over every detail: the fairy lights twinkling across the yard, the rows of white chairs forming a perfect aisle, the soft hum of a string quartet we'd saved up to hire. The weather was flawless, a golden September evening, and Lily looked like a VY Shaun in her flowing white dress, her father, Tom, beaming as he prepared to walk her toward me. I stood under a flower arch, my heart swelling, thinking I was the luckiest guy alive. That is, until a voice sharp and grating sliced through the music like a buzzsaw. "Stop this immediately. This event is unauthorized and must be shut down." The quartet screeched to a halt, and all 50 of our guests whipped around to see Margaret Thompson, known around the neighborhood as Maggie, the HOA tyrant, barreling through our side gate. She clutched a clipboard like it was her lifeline, her face twisted with self-righteous fury. She shoved past Lily's mom, who gasped in shock, and stormed straight for me and our officiant, snatching the microphone from his hands. "This gathering violates Sunnyvale Estates bylaws," she bellowed, addressing her stunned guests. "I'm ordering everyone to leave now." Lily froze mid-aisle, her father's arm tightening around her. The heartbreak in her eyes burned into my memory. Maggie and I had a history, and not the good kind. When Lily and I moved into our first home 8 months earlier, we were thrilled: new chapter, new life. But we hadn't counted on our next-door neighbor being the president of what had to be Arizona's most oppressive HOA. From day one, Maggie seemed to see us as a threat to her perfect little suburban empire. First, she griped about our front door's pinta garish sky blue, when the approved shade was coastal mist. Then she sent us a citation for our bird feeder, claiming it lured undesirable rodents. One Sunday, while we sipped coffee on our patio, we caught her measuring our grass with a ruler, muttering about violations. When we planted a small veggie garden, she slapped us with a 4-page letter about unsightly agricultural displays. We weren't naive about our wedding plans. We'd checked the city's noise ordinance. Events were fine until 10 p.m. and secured every permit needed. Our reception was set to wrap by 8 p.m., well within bounds. We'd even invited most of our immediate neighbors, who were all on board. The HOA bylaws? We read them cover to cover. No rule required approval for private gatherings on our own property. But Maggie had other ideas. In the weeks before the wedding, her campaign kicked into gear: vague emails about gathering restrictions, anonymous complaints to the HOA about parking concerns, even door-to-door warnings to neighbors about our disruptive event. 3 days before the big day, we found a fake official notice taped to our door, demanding a 30-day HOA re-VYEW for our wedding. My brother, a real estate lawyer, laughed it off. "She's inventing rules," he said. "Ignore her and enjoy your day." Oh, how I wish it had been that simple. The morning of the wedding, everything felt perfect. Caterers set up smoothly, chairs aligned like soldiers, lights glowing as the sun dipped low. But as guests arrived, I spotted Maggie pacing the sidewalk out front, smartphone in hand, filming everyone walking up our driveway. She was decked out in her official gear: a navy blazer with gold buttons, a crisp white blouse, and a shiny HOA president badge pinned to her chest. "Just ignore her," Lily whispered, squeezing my hand. "She can't ruin this." Famous last words. When Maggie crashed our ceremony, the air sucked out of the yard. But when she yanked the microphone from me as I tried to take it back, something in me snapped. "You're in violation of community standards," she shrieked, her voice booming through our speakers. "This event incurs a due law 500 fine, and I'm shutting it down now." She flipped through her clipboard, pretending to cite some non-existent bylaw. Tom, Lily's dada, soft-spoken retired teacher, stepped forward. "Ma'am, this is private property. You weren't in VY. Please leave so my daughter can get married." What happened next left everyone gasping. "Mat the sao, sovet sao him." Hard. Tom stumbled back, his suit jacket tearing at the shoulder. "Don't touch me." she screeched, though she'd made contact. I'm conducting official HOA business. She spun toward Lily, still frozen in her gown, and jabbed a finger. Your decorations are too tall. You're a public nuisance, and these cars are blocking the sidewalk. By now, guests were pulling out phones, recording every second. My best man leaned in and whispered, I'm calling 911. Maggie, oblivious, spotted our flower arch and started tugging at it, yelling about unauthorized structures. Our photographer, quick on her feet, captured every moment of the meltdown. My cousin, a TikTok star, was live streaming the chaos, and the comments are already flooding in. Within 10 minutes, 2 police cruisers pulled up. Maggie had knocked over our gift table and was standing on a chair, while VYing her clipboard and shouting violations at our increasingly furious guests. Lily's relatives formed a protective circle around her, while my groomsmen blocked Maggie from the setup. The officer's a calm female sergeant and a younger guy strode through the gate and zeroed in on Maggie. Ma'am, step down and explain what's happening, the sergeant said evenly. Maggie whirled around, badge gleaming. I'm Margaret Thompson, president of Sunnyvale Estates HOA, shutting down this illegal event per our bylaws. The sergeant didn't blink. Are you the property owner, Miss Thompson? Maggie faltered. No, but as HOA president, do you have court-ordered authority to enter private property against the owner's wishes? Maggie's mouth opened, then closed. I don't need that. The bylaws actually you do. The sergeant cut in. Without it, you're trespassing. Guests started showing the second officer VY Deos of Maggie's show, VYing Tom and trashing our setup. Tom, icing his shoulder, gave a statement, his torn jacket hanging limply. Maggie's face turned beet red. I will not be silenced, she spat, pointing at Lily and me. These people have flouted rules since they moved in. The sergeant's tone sharpened. Ms. Thompson, step aside now, or you'll be removed. Maggie froze, then doubled down. I'm exercising my authority. Turn around and place your hands behind your back, the sergeant ordered. You're under arrest for criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, and simple assault. The yard went silent. Maggie's smugness melted into disbelief as the sergeant took her clipboard and cuffed her. This is outrageous, she spluttered. Do you know who I am? I'll have your badge. But as the officers led her out, our guests erupted in applause. My cousin yelled, This is going VY Row, Maggie. Her betrayed glare, realizing no one was on her side, was almost sad. Almost. The sergeant returned, apologetic, and confirmed our permits were in order. The HOA has no authority here, she said. Continue your celebration. Lily, her dress slightly wrinkled, her hair coming loose, stepped forward with fire in her eyes. Everyone, please sit, she called. I'm getting married today, and especially not Harris stopping me. The crowd roared. The quartet struck up again. Tom took Lily's arm, and we said our vows with a joy that felt like defiance. It was better than we'd ever imagined. 3 weeks later, Maggie faced court. Charged with trespass, disorderly conduct, and assault, she couldn't escape the EVY Denke, VY Deos from our wedding racked up millions of VYUs, with a Maggie wedding crash trending for days. Neighbors came forward with their own stories of her bullying. The judge wasn't impressed. Being HOA president doesn't make you above the law, Miss Thompson, he said, sentencing her to a year's probation, anger management, 200 hours of community service VYC, and due law 5,000 in fines. Maggie whispered, but I was just doing my job, as her world crumbled. The next day, an emergency HOA meeting ended with her unanimous removal as president. As security escorted her out, mascara streaking, she wailed, I've been president for 7 years. But they could, and they did. Our wedding became the talk of the town, not just for Maggie's meltdown, but for how we pushed through. Lily and I learned that love isn't just flowers and vows, it's standing together when someone tries to tear you down. But I'm curious, was Maggie just a power-hungry bully, or did she genuinely believe she was protecting the neighborhood? Should HOAs even have this much control over our lives? And what would you have done if someone crashed your big day like that? Drop your thoughts below. Hit Hit that like button if you're Team Lily and me, and subscribe for more wild stories.